As above, so below. As within, so without. Of any spoken word, this statement arguably provides the most insight into the nature of reality. Though the concepts embedded within these words have been felt and vocalized by most ancient cultures around the world, they're most famously written by Hermes Trismegistus, the author of the Hermetic Emerald Tablets. So, near infinite amounts of information can be extrapolated from this statement, but first and foremost, I view it as a reference to the fractality of nature. So, a fractal is a shape or pattern that's self-similar at every scale. To understand as above, so below, we have to acknowledge that the universe is a fractal organism. The rhythm and dance of the micro is the same as the rhythm and the dance of the macro. Reality can be infinitely scaled in or out upon. Universe, galaxy, solar system, planet, animal, cell, organelle, particle, atom, quark, and so on ad infinitum. All of these things are organisms, microcosms of the divine. The Earth, for example, is an organism composed of a network of symbionts, namely insect, plant, and animal species. Their dance of birth, death, and rebirth gives life to the Earth. The human, too, is an organism composed of a network of symbionts, namely bacterial and cellular species. Their dance of birth, death, and rebirth gives life to the human. A cell, too, is an organism composed of a symbiotic network of organelles. Their dance of birth, death, and rebirth is what gives life to the cell. Each of these things are microcosms of the universe and are governed by the same laws and cycles. At every scale of reality, one can observe the interaction or procreation of yin and yang, the cycle of Ouroboros, as well as the will to power, dominance, and expansion. The events and archetypes of the micro are the same as that of the macro. We are but cells competing for dominance and procreation in the organism that is the Earth. As within, so without. As mentioned in a previous video, reality comprises two realms, above and below. The world of yin and the world of yang. The realm of flesh and the realm of mind. As above, so below refers to the fact that these two worlds are governed by the same laws and mirror each other. We can think of them sort of like hardware and software. Everything that exists in the physical world has a counterpart in the metaphysical world. A cell, for example, has a body and a mind, and thus exists in both worlds. It's often hard for modernized people like us to understand that something so small as a cell can have a mind. But in nature, such notions as scale are completely irrelevant. Every organism in nature has a will. A nucleus regulates the metabolism of its cell because it has the will to do so. There is no will without mind or spirit. Anyway, in the physical world, the human body is composed of cells. In the metaphysical world, the human mind is composed of the minds of the cells that construct the human's flesh. For an example of this, when our red blood cells are deplete, we crave iron-rich foods. Another example of this hardware-software analogy exists in heredity. When two beings reproduce, their offspring inherit not only physical traits, but also metaphysical traits, such as fears or preferences. In the physical world, there's a genome. In the metaphysical world, there's an epigenome. Now, I intend to go into this in further depth in a future video about morphic resonance, so stay in tune for that one. The next example is recognized by nearly all ancient cultures around the Earth, blood. So in the physical world, blood contains an array of vitamins and minerals that power the human body. There too is a metaphysical counterpart to blood, a kind of vital life force energy. This vital energy was referred to in ancient Mesoamerican culture as chulel, and was provided to the gods as sustenance via ritual sacrifice. In the physical world, when we consume the blood of an animal, we absorb vitamins and minerals. Metaphysically, we also absorb the life force and the vital energy of said animal. That which benefits or depletes the flesh benefits or depletes the spirit. When an organism is physically depleted, it also becomes metaphysically defective, devoid of logic, delusional, unable to fulfill its design purpose. As above, so below. A cool little bonus. The symbol for this hermetic principle is a six-pointed star. It consists of two arrows, one pointing downwards to signify below, and one pointing upwards to signify above. They're shown to be interlocked in a state of symbiosis or procreation. The product of the union of these two shapes is a hexagon. The hexagon is a shape which occurs all throughout nature's networks, both within and without, the trademark of the designer.